Ninja Gaiden is a popular action series that is known for its fast-paced battles and blistering difficulty. Even on the NES when the series first debuted, it was known for its harshness, but what about its later incarnations? The modern era of Ninja Gaiden is a different beast than its old platforming roots, but it carried the same DNA. Helmed by Tomonobu Itagaki, the legend of the series truly begins. I am Super Mega Buster, and I'm here to engross you in the world of Ryu Hayabusa's revamped first outing, Ninja Gaiden Sigma. Ninja Gaiden Sigma is my first experience with this franchise, and boy did it humble me. I spent many times looking at the game over screens and staring at the wall trying to figure out why I'm getting beat up by random jobbers mugging me in the streets of Tehran. But before we get into the game proper, we need to go over the version differences of Sigma as opposed to the other versions of Ninja Gaiden. There are multiple versions of this game that have been released over the years to some's charging, where we have at least 4 different takes on this game. For the sake of conciseness, we will be going over the common point of comparison, Sigma versus Black. One of the most outwardly noticeable changes between the two versions is the addition of Rachel in Ninja Gaiden Sigma as a playable character. She adds 4 additional chapters in this game, which some might say is not a valuable addition, but more on that later. The game between Sigma and Black has some texture, lighting, and graphical differences as well, which in some areas Black's look better and others Sigma looks superior to me. Sigma possesses different music than that of Black as well. There's also no exaggerating nearly 100 different changes if you consider all the balance changes, level design changes, weapon changes, and additions like the dual katana and much more. These versions are incredibly different, but for the sake of the hardware that I'm using, which is my PC, I went with the Sigma version. Depending on who you ask about these changes, it could be either reconcilable or downright atrocious. The balance of these games, i.e. the difficulty, is a high point of contention, and the Sigma version on the Master Collection did add some goodies such as costumes from the PS Vita version. Good lord, dude, we would be here all day if we went over every single detail in this video, but the version differences are worth mentioning. As this is my first time with the franchise, I chose this version due to the convenience of Steam, and at least hearing Sigma for the first game isn't just shit out the butt, which is fine enough for me. Not gonna lie, bro, the way Sigma tells the story is kinda out of whack, and it feels like a lot of context for things is really just random, so I'll do my very best to try and describe the cliff notes without having to get into the weeds of the story, because quite frankly, I don't know if this story even wants me to do that in the first place. First things first, we got Ryu Hayabusa completing their training with his uncle Mirai in the village, murking some poor bum-ass ninjas that they apparently don't care about before having his boss fight with the bastard. Ryu then gets told by Ayane from Dead or Alive fame that apparently is a part of this universe that his village is getting burnt to the ground. Ryu runs back to his village and has to fight a bunch of samurai and wizard dudes trying to wreck his spot. Of course, our hero Ryu beats the fuck out of these guys because they do not possess flying swallow, so they are garbage like the dude Ryu murked in the beginning of this game, and then he meets up with the big guy of the hour, Doku. Doku just got done killing Ryu's best friend, Koreha, and Ryu gets annihilated in the fight because he realized he wasn't that guy. Doku and the Empire are trying to take the Dark Dragon Sword, which is the opposite of our goat's main weapon, the Dragon Sword, so they can do evil shit with it, I guess. Ryu gets revived, and the reason is because then Ryu finds out that Doku is essentially working with the Vigor Empire as their right-hand man and goes in to bust shit up and take revenge in the capital. Demons and shit also start showing up, and Doku wants to use Rachel, whom is a woman, who became a hunter so she can stop her recently awakened sister. Loads of spectacular and logical things happen after that, and then you become a part of the Blue Man group after Ryu finally gets his revenge on Doku, and then Ryu has to go to a hellscape to beat some demons, and that are the Emperor himself. And then when you get saved by Rachel, the Dark Disciple, which was some purple guy having mysterious discussions with Galmouth throughout the game, is actually Mirai the whole fucking time, and he kills his green henchman for no reason. You then kill him because he's fucking stupid for letting you get broken throughout the course of the game, and then you turn into a falcon and fuck off. This story takes you to a lot of different places, and I'm sure some people will really vibe with it, but I think in general it is all over the place, and honestly, that's pretty fine. The story, due to how the cutscenes are typically only at the start and the end of the level, making a lot of context going up to your own interpretation at times, at least makes the fever dream that we experience non-intrusive. The gameplay of Ninja Gaiden is where I would presume fans of the series are here for, and Sigma, despite its issues, does not disappoint. Ninja Gaiden is a hack and slash game, so the combat is arguably the most important aspect of this title. Whether it be shredding through enemies with your dragon sword, beating them to death with a flail, or shooting fireballs out of your hands, Ninja Gaiden plays great, especially considering its hardware origins of the Xbox. The game has 3 main modes of attacking: melee weapons, projectile weapons, and Ninpo. The melee weapons come in various different flavors that complement your playstyle. If you want a more balanced combo focused weapon, you want to go with the Dragon Sword. Want to take on the damage and have a slower attacking weapon? Go with a great sword like the Dabaro. Yes, I mispronounced this shit. If you want to overwhelm and stun lock some enemies around you in a short distance around your body, go with the Nunchaku / Vigorian Flail combo. My personal favorite choices from this list that game gives you is the Dragon Sword, Dual Katana, and Vigorian Flail. There's another playable character in this game for 4 missions of the main story and some missions in survival and ninja trial modes, which are 2 things I will elaborate on later. Rachel is a character who is slow, has a lot of health, and minimal mobility in comparison to the likes of Ryu. She doesn't really have much going for her other than her counters can lead to some insta-kill scenarios. I often find myself bored or frustrated playing her due to her using a type of weapon that I am not fond of, which happens to be slow and heavy hitting attacking weapons, and her projectile being functionally useless in most scenarios. She just didn't feel like she had much depth to her combat, and she lacked something that made Ryu special, which was shuriken canceling, but at least her missions are relatively short. An aspect of this game that is pretty important to describe is shuriken canceling. This allows you to cancel the recovery of your attacking moves and allows you to follow up with other actions faster, which can help you reposition, extend combos, and help you land on the ground quicker after a flying swallow in order to land your ultimate technique, a charge attack of your respective weapon, which charges faster after landing on the ground and also absorbing the orbs around the area. Mastering this aspect of combat is quite integral to really enjoying the depth of this game possesses in its combo system, and also saving you from various evil enemy formations that exist within this game. The difficulty in Ninja Gaiden is one of its major selling points, and while difficulty is subjective, I objectively saw the game over screen more than Invincible catches L's. I was getting my shit rocked all over this game in normal mode, and I'm not gonna hold anyone. I raged every other chapter when 3 black spider ninjas backed me in the corner and shanked me in the streets like a London alleyway. This game forces you to master its dodging, mobility, counterattacks, and your camera control. One might ask, what the fuck does this guy even mean, camera control? Let's talk about the strongest spots in this game, the camera. Throughout the game, the camera constantly is rearranging itself in order to keep up with the fast-paced action to, various levels of success. The camera is typically determining the frequency of game over screens you will see in this game. However, you can control the camera outside of boss fights. I think your ability to move and also adjust your camera constantly is key to your success in this game. Otherwise, you'll be looking inside a wall instead of seeing 3 teleporting gremlins jumping on your entrails. The camera is the most egregious thing when it comes to the boss fights due to the fixed angles that would be more at home in Resident Evil 1 than Ninja Gaiden. At least when you are looking at a corner in the game, you can marvel at the Metroidvania-esque level design that this game provides to you. Ninja Gaiden's level design is one of the major aspects that this game brings to the genre as opposed to its peer. The game utilizes your tools and abilities as a ninja to make interesting levels and puzzles for you to get through as you slash through the foreign capital of Tehran. Once you land in the city, the game shows its hand, allowing you to explore previous areas after the chapter is done and explore to get extra items which can lead to mana and health upgrades or even these enemy gauntlets that yield a reward at the end of them. The exploration is a big part of the game due to these collectibles and weapons you might find by doing so. Going off the beaten path is typically rewarded and on different difficulty has these goodies in different locations, keeping things fresh for repeat players. Golden scarabs are one of the chief reasons why you want to explore due to the fact that if you turn them into the shop, you'll get rewarded with various different goods. To collect a golden scarab, you either have to do some form of platforming challenge, find it in a hidden spot, or battle in one of these huge enemy gauntlets in order to get one. The rewards are more than worth it if you spend the time doing so. This can take the edge off of the difficulty that I was crying about earlier if you take the time to score the level for them. There are some unlockables you can get from other modes as well for your main journey. This version of the game provides 2 additional gameplay modes in the form of Survival and Ninja Trials mode. The Survival mode is a gauntlet of enemies where you need to be able to kill at least 100 of them with a given weapon you have in order to get a golden form of the weapon you chose for the mission. This is also a good place to practice some techniques or combos you wanted to do. This mode has a similar function to Buddy Palace in that way. Then in Ninja Trial modes, you do various missions that the game gives you using the items or weapons the game restricts you to. I spent most of my time playing the Ninja Trial mode because I was curious if I could test my skills in less than ideal situations. I was able to beat some of them, but there's a lot that just straight up whipped my ass. These modes serve as good practice for the main story and just adds more replayability to the game, so I'm all for their inclusion in this version of the game. Ninja Gaiden is truly an awesome game that I think action fans need to experience at least once to see what the hype is about regarding the return of this fabled franchise with Ninja Gaiden 4. The fast-paced action, wild story, and level designs makes this an unforgettable journey that most hack and slash series wish they had in their catalog. If you haven't already picked up the game, I recommend you cop the Master Collection so you can be able to play this gem alongside the other 2 games that come along with it. With that said, however, the next time you see a video on this franchise in particular will be on Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, the remake of the darling title of the franchise, Ninja Gaiden 2. Leave a like and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the next video.